Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice? Fuck you, get out of here. I don't want to be around you if you're going to make me look like a fool. Welcome to Very Real Talk, everybody. I won't be made a fool on this podcast or in my life. Don't try to fool me. This is, of course, the fun and uplifting podcast.
It started so fun.
Where we talk about, things from our life. We never lie, obviously. That's the most important part, if you didn't know by now. I'm Nick Potter, and I got my boys here in the stewed with me. We got a new boy, but I'm not going to just introduce him yet. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to save it. Savor. You guys, the tension's going to build.
I wonder who it is.
You gotta save that boy for later.
Yeah, we're saving him. We're savoring the flavor and saving some for later.
Right.
Whatever that commercial used to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. The first boy in the stewed with me, you know him by now. His name's Collin Sage. Collin, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Who is the least funny person that you know?
Honestly, this is going to be very...
real?
People aren't going to like this.
Okay.
It's not now, but for a long time, Sarah Silverman.
Oh, okay. You know Sarah Silverman?
No.
I know.
Oh, am I supposed to know them?
I'm joking.
Okay. No, but
I
guess
whatever.
because she was supposed to be funny, that how unfunny she was to me made me constantly think of her as the unfunniest person that I could think of.
Right. She was doing, in her earlier years, she was doing a lot of shock stuff. And it was kind of that thing where people built her up. It's like when I went to watch the movie Napoleon Dynamite. And people were like, oh my God, it's so funny. It's the best movie ever. And I was like, I can't wait. And it had been out for months. I watched it on DVD. And I was like, man, this is so unfunny to me. Him dancing is so unfunny.
Well, but dude, it's a sledgehammer, and then it cuts.
It's just
That's still good.
You quoting it to me is funnier than the actual movie, Joey.
Throw football over the mountains.
Yeah, like it's...
Come on, throw on the stick.
So, the hype was too much, and it really
It was a
let me
lot
down.
of hype. Good thing I saw that movie opening weekend.
Okay, so you actually enjoyed it.
My buddy was like, we're going to see this movie at Baxter, Napoleon Dynamite. And I was like, Napoleon? Oh, we're seeing a documentary? Whatever. I'll go for him.
And then you got
I didn't know what indie movies were at the time. And so we're at Baxter, and I'm like, I guess we're about to watch a movie about Napoleon.
This sucks.
It's a history. I like history, so whatever. I'm just doing it for my buddy's birthday. And then we watched Napoleon Dynamite, and I was thoroughly confused. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
I laughed, but it wasn't like as funny as I thought it was later. And then, 6 months later, when it caught the world by fire, everybody's like, Napoleon Dynamite. I was like, what's that? And then I finally saw people would like show me the DVD because they'd bring it in just to show that they had it. It was such a weird fad.
It really was.
And I was like, oh my God, I saw that movie like a year ago at Baxter. Why is that cool?
Right. And you were cool for saying that. You were ahead
no,
of the curve by being behind.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't remember like, oh yeah, I saw that first. I don't remember doing that much.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Sarah Silverman sucks my ass. Now, I don't feel that as strongly about it now, but I think it was because of the hype. People would talk about her, and I just wasn't into her style of comedy at all. She'd just be like, anyway, I shit. Right? And it just felt like she was fishing a lot because they'd be like, say something graphic, and they'd pause. Right? Pause. And it was just like, oh,
sure.
We get it.
Okay. Cool. Joey, I got another question for you. You're my brother, by the way. This is Joey Potter.
Hello.
Who's the funniest person that you know? And not a stand-up comedian. Who do you know that's the funniest? Is it your brother Nick?
He's fishing. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with me, motherfucker.
Okay.
What up? It's your boy.
Joey, let me ask you another question.
All right.
Whoa.
Do you really know yourself?
Whoa.
Oh, fuck.
Whoa.
Shit.
Oh, no.
We all got to get into therapy and really find ourselves.
Oh, what, Nick, why are you holding a
Mouth
mirror
noises
right
is
now?
do I know myself?
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, fair. If you think you're the funniest person you know, that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Confidence.
Cool.
I concur.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Now,
I think Joey is the funniest person that Joey knows.
Joey's never really known me. Sure, we're brothers. No, I'm not going to get into that right now. That's for my therapist to decide.
Okay.
To
decide?
to decide. She makes my decisions for me. Yes. My therapy is really weird. I asked her last time I was in her office.
Is your therapist your mom?
No.
That's where this is going.
Yeah,
She
you
just
see me
tells
hit
you
therapist in my phone, and you just hear my mom's
Right,
voice.
and she just tells you point blank, like, yeah, Joey's my favorite. What are you going to do?
I asked my therapist last time I was in her office, next time I come in, I want you to prod me with a bunch of questions so I really know if I'm happy or not.
Whoa.
I want to know if if there's anything deeper in my psyche that I need to dig out. And I was like, why? I'm happy. Why am I doing this to myself? Is that part of it? Can I not be happy? Whoa. You guys didn't whoa with me. Is this just really sad?
Yeah, I'm just watching you. I'm watching you plummet, like spiral.
Yeah. Now you just have to say, like, I want to cut my wrists. Right?
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 Yeah, that's all. Yeah, exactly. That's all
I
comedy
fucked
is.
Jimmy Kimmel, right?
Yeah. Guys, we just have to be really real on this podcast, so that's why I went there. Okay?
All right.
Therapy's
Got
healthy.
real.
It shouldn't have the stigma.
It is.
Get
Just
in
don't
there.
do it with your
Agreed.
mom. Do it
Right.
with someone else's
Yeah,
mom.
please.
okay?
If your mother is your therapist, please stop that.
Find somebody else's mom. to give
Please
you
find an
therapy.
unbiased person. Unless your mom is just
Yeah,
really
just
unbiased.
Go knock on doors, dude, and just be like, hey, are you a mom? You want to tell me what my life is about?
Please. Prod me with really personal questions.
Yeah, somebody will work it out with
Yeah.
you.
Okay, now it's time to finally introduce our guest today. His name is Colby Ballou.
Oh, hey, y'all.
Hey, man. Colby is a longtime friend of ours. He was in our sketch group Bottoms Up. We went to college with this boy. He moved to Chicago with me.
Wow.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we lived together. I ate his food because I was poor.
Okay.
His cat pooped in our kitchen every day
Because you were poor?
because we were
Because
poor.
we were
She
poor.
hated it. She was really upset about how poor we were.
When it rains, you're poor.
Sucks.
Colby got up dutifully every day and cleaned her litter box, and she still pooped on the floor every day.
She doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, it was out of defiance.
Yeah.
His cat hated our cats. It's whatever. We had a cat war in our house. And also, me and Colby used to write sketches together up in Chicago. We went to Second City together.
Nice.
We are best boys. Colby also
wouldn't say
married
that.
me and my wife, so
Oh, shit, he did.
yeah, he officiated that
I
shit.
watched.
You watched. Sorry you couldn't be up there.
No, it's
Get
better that way, actually.
Fucked. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
I was up there.
I watched you too.
Yeah.
Joey didn't do the worm at wedding, and I'm really sad.
I'm just like a piece of slate, man. I don't bend.
We were outside.
Hey.
The dance floor was the earth. I feel like if he did the worm, he would have turned into a worm. I don't know. He would have got worms on him. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Nowhere.
Right?
Right? Was that shocking enough?
Yeah.
Colby, who was the first stand-up comedian you saw live?
Ooh. My goodness gracious. What was the first stand-up? You know who it was?
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Whoa!
For fucking real. It
Was
was
it really
Gallagher.
Gallagher?
It was really Gallagher. He
my
came to Paducah.
Was it Gallagher 1 or Gallagher 2?
Oof.
Oh, that's right, because he's got like a
He's
brother.
got a
Who
brother.
stole his act.
Well, he quit, and his brother took it over, and then original Gallagher was like, you know what? I want to come back now. And his brother was like, sorry, I'm making all that Gallagher money. And so they have to
He's like, shut up, Gallagher
Right.
2.
So their dispute ended in their names are spelled different, or it is Gallagher 1 and 2.
Glagger.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, they have to tour on opposite sides of the country at any time.
Honestly, who can say who I really saw?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that it was Gallagher 1.
Okay. Was there
Maybe it was-
watermelons involved?
Maybe
There
it was
were.
Gallagher
And then
3.
let me ask you
Excellent.
this very important question. Were you in the splash zone?
I was not. I was
What
in the balcony.
What the fuck?
You sound poor.
Yeah, your parents didn't love you enough to put you in the splatter zone?
No.
Damn.
Did you still show up with a poncho just hoping?
Maybe one of the watermelon bits will hit me up in the
That's gotta
up
be
in the mezzanine.
Man, that's
be
got to be the saddest thing to see somebody up
Way
in the
up.
balcony with a poncho.
The poncho.
And they're just sitting there giddy, maybe he'll still get me.
No, it's like hoping the Bruce Springsteen thing will happen where he'll go to the back and play to the back.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant where he'll point you out and then you have to go have sex with him after the show.
Oh.
You!
And it
You!
turns out he's not generous at all.
Yeah. He's not a very giving.
I imagine that's what Bruce Springsteen's life is. Maybe he's actually a nice man, and he like quilts after the shows. Who knows?
I thought we were talking about Gallagher taking you and having sex with you after the show.
I mean, those watermelons.
Gallagher got some ass, right?
Yeah. What do you think he does with all that juice afterwards?
What do you think? What do you think he does with all that
He
juice?
takes all the broken up watermelon pieces to the local food bank.
Wow. What a hero.
Yeah, he calls out the people on the balcony with the raincoats on because he knows they're desperate. And he's just like, yeah, bring them backstage for a real watermelon show.
Oh.
What kind of Gallagher impression is that? That's great.
I don't know.
This is how he
It's
talks.
villainous Gallagher. You don't even know the difference between 1 and 2. 2 could have talked like that
Right.
for all we know.
It could have been Gallagher 3, you know?
God, who knows how many
Man.
Gallaghers there actually are? Like, he could have been killed 40 years ago.
There's money
it's
in
like
it.
that conspiracy theory where, like,
Paul's
Avril
dead.
Lavigne's dead.
I was going to say Avril Lavigne.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a conspiracy theory about
yeah.
Avril Lavigne.
Yes, that she got killed, like, a long time
No,
ago.
she like died of Lyme disease.
Oh, Lyme disease?
Yeah, or something like that, and got replaced.
Because, you know, the Avril Lavigne brand name
Somebody
was
had to
very
marry
big.
Chad Kroger.
Right.
I don't want to go
Wake
too deep
me
down this
up.
rabbit hole, but why?
Wake
what
me
is?
up inside.
What's the evidence of Avril Lavigne?
Okay, have you been on the internet, Colby? People just, like, have a crazy idea in their brain. It was probably just some weirdo who's like, Avril Lavigne looks really different. I bet it's a different person.
She also disappeared for a couple of years.
Right, she
Because
was
she
out of
got
the
Lyme
limelight.
disease.
Okay,
I think she actually does have that.
okay. Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's real.
I just thought she might have found herself a skater boy finally. And then she said,
okay.
see you later to the biz.
No, because then she
Boy.
got all bubblegum pop
Yeah.
when she came back.
Yeah, so
had
there was
that
a-
one really good song.
So all you have to do is post one time on like 4chan or Reddit, and then you just build this following of other crazy people who want to believe that there's just like everything's a conspiracy.
Right, and it turns out your career just tumbled, and you're just broke and normal, and people think you like disappeared.
Right. Like they think that like Hollywood is run
Right.
by the Jews and like
Yeah.
that they, you know, replaced people and stuff. And
Right,
It's
really,
like Fox News running that thing of that Cosby Show actor that was like working at Whole Foods or
Yeah.
something.
right?
like,
Really, you just
people
went
need
backstage
money, man.
at a Gallagher concert, and that's really all that happened. Your life.
anyway,
changed.
I'm pretty sure that the government replaced
you the
Gallagher
old-
and Gallagher 2 with Gallagher 3 and 4.
give you the old foreskin hammer,
Oh,
right?
oh so Silverman's back. Perfect.
Right?
I wonder if she's
His-
going to keep showing up throughout this episode.
I will say his hammer did have a big hole in it so that it splashed up into the ceiling.
okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Oh, I
All right.
never knew that.
Wow.
Well, it was a later addition.
Oh, okay. Because at first it would just shoot outward or kind of
Uh-huh.
like
Like,
everywhere.
yes.
But he wanted it to go up. So he got the world's
Well, he
best
wanted-
engineers.
Right. Right. On the
Just put
case.
To
fucking
drill a hole
in
in,
it.
a
Yeah.
hammer.
I want the splatter to go everywhere.
Get me NASA.
NASA on the phone.
It's not a sex thing, I swear.
Why does he talk like Inspector
We
Gadget?
didn't think that until you said it, Gallagher.
Lubing it up with that
Because
juice.
he wears suspenders. I don't know. He talks like that.
I wear
right?
suspenders.
Gallagher kind of talks like this. He
got that-
does.
It's got that pedo
Yeah.
mustache.
Gentlemen, the reason that I've gathered you all here today to talk about this particular topic is because my friend Colby once showed me an 8-hour video on this topic. He was like, Nick, I'm moving back from Chicago finally, and I want to hang out. But in order to hang out with me, you have to watch this 8-hour video presentation
Okay.
that I made.
8.5. But
Oh, you made it. All right.
He did. He compiled it. He did a little research project.
Sounds like a
on-
lot of research.
a lot of research.
Well, yeah, because if the final product was 8.5 hours, you know he spent a lot of time on it.
When I cut it down the first time, it was 24 hours.
Are you serious?
For real?
Oh my God.
And that was
Nick,
the stuff
I
that
need
I
one solid whole day of your time.
Whoa. It's
or
like
I'll never talk to you again.
that you have to watch this, or we shan't be friends.
Whoa.
It was a research project on. You know what? Before I just go rattling on, Colby, give us the spiel real quick of what that was.
Well, basically, it had to do with stand-up comedy, specifically over the last 20 years, and just trying to take a look at how the culture of stand-up comedy has shifted over that time.
Right.
You know, it starts out with the base of pretty much every comedian's like, fuck you, I can say whatever I want. If you can't take it, then that's on you.
Yeah, it was broken up into segments. The first one was kind of about PC culture and how it affected comedy.
Yeah, and then you can kind of see, okay, the general opinion here is like, fuck you, I should be able to say whatever. And then the second segment kind of had to do with toxic masculinity, and so it started to get a little bit more real. You could see like, ooh, some of this stuff wouldn't be cool to say nowadays.
Right.
And then the final segment was, well...
examples of comedians doing that thing.
Bill Cosby, and then splicing that with, hey, here's Bill Cosby talking about drugging women in his act.
I didn't even realize that was a bit. He was really like, you know what's fun is to drug women. Like, that's basically the joke. Like, it was like, oh shit, he's confessing. He's like, you just give him a little, what did he call it?
Spanish fly.
Spanish fly.
Yeah, and when we first showed it at our film society up in Chicago, we had this special drink, and I called it the Spanish Fly.
Oh no!
And then
when all the girls threw their cups away immediately.
It was definitely when it came around to that. What the fuck?
What did you do? Oh, and then they started falling asleep. He timed it
too late.
Oh. Yeah. No. Yeah. He was like, you give them the Spanish Fly, and they fall asleep, and then you can just have a sleepy girl next to you. Oof. It was like really specific, man. It was
really bad.
And then like the end of the joke is like, I went to Spain and asked him where the Spanish Fly was, and he was like, where's the American Fly or whatever. Yeah, like everyone's doing it, right? Yeah. Do you guys like my lazy Bill Cosby?
I'm the American Fly.
Yeah. Basically.
And then he just stares out in the audience for 20 minutes. And
everyone's like, ha ha! Remember when he did the Jeffrey joke? Oh. That was funny. Like, yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting series to watch, and so I wanted to have Colby on today and have us all talk about, as we've labeled it, our Mount Rushmore of stand-up comics from more of a modern, time period. Like, if we do all time, then it's just like, it's George Carlin, it's, Richard Pryor, it's Lenny Bruce. Yeah, we can do that all day, but comedy has blown up really in the past couple years because Netflix just like everyone gets one. Everyone has a Netflix special now, so there's so much more like the general audience can see. Because even 15 years ago, you could only listen to people who had albums, who could afford to have their stuff taped and then produced. So now, since there's so many, and you can Twitter and YouTube and so. There's so many more to choose from.
I think another big thing that is kind of come over stand-up culture in the past, 10 years is they could say all that shit, be like, fuck you, if you don't like it, you can leave. Mm-hmm. Now that's just plastered all over the internet. So you have these comics that are like, they say this thing is like a joke or whatever, and then it's just like they get backlash by people who haven't seen it, saw it out of context, and then they have to deal with that.
Right.
And they're probably not that good at dealing with it because they're not like someone like, not everyone's Kevin Hart that has probably a whole team around them.
Sure.
Like a PR, HR kind of like, unit. So they're just like getting, all this shit thrown at them. And they usually handle it pretty poorly.
Yeah, also, one of the complaints of comedians is like, oh, they came in and watched me like working at a bit. Like, it's not a finished bit. You have to go to the clubs and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, cut your teeth on like new material over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then people can just record that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it is really tough. And my views went back and forth while we watched it and stuff, but it mostly stayed the same on where, like, if you have a well-crafted joke with a point of view and context, I really think that just about anything can be in a stand-up bit. The reason that a lot of that stuff doesn't work from 20, 30, 40 years ago is because like a lot of the punchlines were just like gay, like that's it, like a gay thing like that, and that was it.
Yeah,
and that's,
like go watch Eddie Murphy Raw right now.
Right, exactly.
Cringe.
He even like apologized. He was like, guys, that stuff was really just like
ignorant.
It's
ignorant.
Yeah. basically, which is good of him to do. Like, hey, times have changed. That stuff is not what I would do today. Like,
yeah. I think that's the thing is like the underlying just beliefs of the general crowd and the general, like, oh yeah, this is, gay people are bad, right? That was a belief in the 80s. And so you kind of heard that more casually. And now it's just not, it wouldn't fly today.
Yeah. And obviously things change with public opinion over time and stuff, so it has to evolve. But I think if you have a well-crafted, point of view and it's not lazy writing, I think anything can kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think is funny? This is probably the most serious we've been talking right now on Very Real Talk, and it's about stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Where's the funny? All right, where's the watermelons? Come on.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone has Gallagher on their list today.
Somebody squash some fruit.
Yeah, because I know that, like, I am a huge comedy nerd. I've watched a ton, listened to a ton. I love it. I re-listen to albums all the time. But I know that, like, Collin is not as big of a stand-up person. Joey, I don't know where you lie.
I fell out of the game because once it was coming to Netflix, and I'd watch some of the big ones and stuff like that. But I don't listen to stand-up like in my car anymore or anything like that. It's all podcasts. And when I'm watching something on like Netflix, since so much stuff comes out, like narrative stuff, I like form this backlog, so I try and get through that. So I don't really sit there and turn off my brain.
Yeah.
When I'm watching something like Netflix, I use YouTube for that, for like Let's Plays and gameplay, stuff like that.
Sure.
So I've kind of fallen out of it. I've kept up with a couple people, but I'm not as into it as I used to be.
Sure. Colby, were you really into stand-up before you started it? Okay.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed, like, I watched the Comedy Central Presents way back in the day. The Brian Regans, the Mitch Hepbergs, the Jim Gaffigan was way back in the day.
Right.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was always a fascination of mine. I always wanted to do something with it. And then the moment just came.
Yeah. We used to, when we lived in Chicago, go to the Laugh Factory. We had a friend of ours from Second City who liked to do stand-up at the Laugh Factory. And it was always great because there was always, that cliche is so true, that there's always some crazy homeless guy that just like walks up to the mic and gets to talk to an audience for 10 minutes, like, about, like, government conspiracies or just whatever. Like, I was doing heroin, and this cop came up and asked me what I was doing, and I told him to eat a dick. And, like, it's just, like, this weird
Was that Sarah Silverman?
Right? Because I don't have a dick because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Funny.
But, yeah, I loved going to the open mics, man, because you would just see a wide range of, like, good people, crazy people, like, people that are just starting out, like, some people's first times and stuff. And, there's not as much of that here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like, the one big, like, improv place or stand-up open mic place was on 4th Street, and it closed.
Yeah, we had I forgot what it was called. Like,
yeah, I went there once, and, man, like, the middle guy was so good. Could have been top comedy guy in the country. I can't really describe his act, but it was just like insane. And then the headliner came on, and she was just so one note. And I was like, "How do you follow that guy? You're
right.
What?"
Yeah, Jude's friend of Very Real Tournament. Jude's his stepdad did comedy there.
Oh, okay, cool.
He is very, and this almost
maybe it was that guy. Was he
almost
like
says,
crazy?
He's like he kind of looks like Kramer, honestly.
Oh no!
Okay. Oh, speaking of Laugh Factory,
Ooh,
you guys were there in that place where his career died.
Yes,
yeah, I was
You
there
get to see his grave.
Yeah, they had an R.I.P. Michael Richards over it was a banner over the stage.
I saw Dane Cook there.
Whoa!
Did he give you the super finger?
Was he
don't even
passing
know what that
out
means.
like Good Luck Chuck DVDs?
Whoa!
Or whatever other employee of the month?
Guys, the super finger.
Yes, I remember the super. I was a teenager when he was popular.
I thought it was Suck My Back. Was his thing?
That was not. He had one where like when he was selling out arenas and became totally like he Kevin Harted, where it's just I can't even really find you that funny because you're just so unrelatable now.
Right.
Yeah.
He had one. He had a circle stage, and the thing on the circle stage was the super finger.
Yeah, it was
whatever
some
it
sort
was.
of branding thing that he created
for a while.
and rode that super finger.
Hey, his first couple
oblivion.
were good. I also liked Daniel Tosh before he blew up.
Yeah.
I thought he was different, and his style was like refreshing, and I was like, man, this
like,
guy's really
no,
funny.
all the frat dudes like this guy. I have to bail.
And then he got big, and it was just like,
have you guys watched Tosh.0?
It's garbage,
trash.
man. It sucks.
It's the most like every joke is the most like low hanging fruit, and it's just like I've seen your stand up.
Yeah.
Like I know you're clever, like more clever than this.
Well, it's a shitty writing team that he has that has to come up with, these jokes really fast.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's so hard to have a show about the internet now because everything moves so fast that by the time you produce this and it comes out...
It needs to be on the internet.
Right. Yes, it needs to be on the internet.
like America's Funniest Home Videos. Still on.
Still on?
Still. I'm pretty sure it's still, what's his face from Fresh Prince?
Alfonso?
Yeah.
How long has he been doing it? Because I was going to ask you if Bob Saget was still doing it.
No, it's the Fortnite dance guy. Okay,
He ain't
he's
ever
still
getting
there.
his money.
I'm like 90% sure the show is still on. It might not be, but yeah, they just use like stuff off of YouTube.
Yeah, that's
Really-
that's the sad nature
Yeah.
of what the future brings. Man, I'm glad he's gone. Before we get into our Mount Rushmores, I'm going to the very bottom of the well, and that is that motherfucker Bob Saget, man. So like uproariously unfunny, like ridiculously unfunny.
He's your Sarah Silverman.
Do you think he
Yes.
built himself by being the since he was America's Funniest Home Videos and whatever, what is it?
Full House.
Full House. He was that guy, and then you go see him, and he's super crass, and that's
Yeah,
Right.
that was his shtick.
That
He
was
was
his shtick?
trying. That's the thing that makes it horrible is he was trying so hard to be shocking. He was like,
okay.
"Hey man, what's your name?" Right here in the audience, and I was like, "Oh, Gerald," and he was like, "Gerald, you a goat fucker?" And like
Cool.
that's it. Those are his jokes. Like,
fun.
whoa,
Yeah.
like
Right?
talking about like fingering like the girls on Full House and stuff. Like it was awful. It was
saying.
atrocious.
Male Sarah Silverman.
He was trying to like break that like
what I'm saying.
stereotype, like the mold that he had like built his career around. He was like, no, forget all that.
Now,
He was America's white dad.
I think in fairness, that was always his shtick. Like, even since the 80s, he was a very pushing the edge kind of
Yeah.
comedian. But
Okay. Yeah, it just
Right, but he's still doing it apparently.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
he's
like-
still doing.
let's see Anthony Jeselnik in like 30 years.
man, at least his stuff feels well crafted.
It's true.
Like, and he's not just like calling people goat fuckers in the audience. He's his thing has become stale because you know what's coming. You know he's
Yeah.
going to go for the darkest thing. Mm-hmm. So his first album I loved.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this guy is like he has this persona that you can tell. But now it's just
And his
like,
cadence was really the
his
people.
cadence was perfect.
The people on my list, most of them is for their cadence.
Yeah, it was perfect, man. He's a really good performer, but now I know what to expect. So whatever. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. And you know what? I'll start. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like mine might be a little bit different than your all. Some of them will be the same because some of them are the greatest.
Yeah.
So my Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedy from in the recent to current era, obviously first Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle,
Yep.
it's on mine
I've
too.
grown up with him. Like I've been a fan of his forever. I think I got a lot of my sense of humor from him. Like I quote him all the time. I think he is one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And his earlies hold up.
His earlies
Yes.
hold up so well.
I was watching some of his, and I watched some from the mid 2000s, some from the early 2000s. I watched like a Dave Attell from like 2007, and it was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
He's just like, where's all the broads at? I'm trying to fuck them, right, fellas? Am I right? And it was just like
Misogyny.
2007. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then, but like Dave Chappelle, like 2003.
Yeah.
It should have. It's like it came out last month. He's
Yeah.
just like
He's one of those people that I get the sense that he's a very naturally funny person. Like, not even on the stage, which he totally is, but just
Right.
like sitting, just like four
Yeah.
people doing a podcast.
Yeah.
He would be fucking hilarious.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
And I appreciate how that's that has come out in his most recent performances where he knows he's the fucking best.
Yeah.
Where he does the punchline before the joke and like how am I gonna get there, and he's just like that kind of stuff.
Y'all
Because
still didn't see it.
yeah, because it's like it was probably a rehearsed bit. Maybe I don't know. Maybe half the shit he says is off the top of his fucking head.
Doubt
Yeah.
that very seriously.
Right. It probably he makes it
probably
feel
isn't,
that
but-
way.
Yeah. But that's the
He's
thing,
also
is that he
really
makes
high.
it feel that way.
Yeah. My second of the current generation, it's got to be John Mulaney, man.
That's on
I
mine
love him
too.
so much. I think our other ones will be different, Joey. But man,
Maybe.
I've been a fan of his since his first album, before he was cool.
Before he was in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, like I love his storytelling so much. And he just it's his language too. That's what a lot of mine are based on.
And the sass that he can bring to a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, stand-up comedy is a word game. You have to be a really good wordsmith. It's all in the specific stuff. It's finding the funniest word to go in a joke.
Instead of killing yourself, it's walk into the ocean.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And speaking of like using really funny words, another one of mine is Pete Holmes.
Really?
This is more recent. I've gotten really into his stuff, man. I love his personality. He's really positive. And he just finds really good words. Like, one of his jokes is like, you know, talking about like how British people are way better at like doing awkward conversations. Like, Americans just kind of hold the turd, like someone, you know, and then he uses the word like, I don't think grandma's gonna make it through the hot summer. And how Americans are like, oh shoot, death, you know. But you know, British people find a way to like give it right back, like, she's on her way out, is she? I think I'm suicidal.
Yeah.
Can't quite take it, can you?
I mean, I love his stuff from the Bad Man stuff,
yeah,
and
the
his
Bad
like
Man.
the Street Fighter job interview thing.
Oh, the X-Men job interviews?
And Street Fighter.
Okay, yeah,
he
those
does both.
videos are really good.
Yeah, that's most. I don't think I've ever seen him do stand up.
Oh, he has like
really?
5 or 6 albums, man, and they're
They're
all really good.
Like I said, I don't seek this stuff out anymore.
Right.
It's also, man, he has a funny face, and I know, Nick,
Yes.
that you're into like listening, and I totally get that. But Jerry Seinfeld was talking about, you know, comedians, their material has to match their face.
Yeah.
And I think Pete Holmes is really.
I think he described himself as like lesbian Val Kilmer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I can see it.
yeah, he's self-deprecating and stuff, and it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with John Mulaney. John Mulaney has that thing where he's like, it looks like I've just been sitting in a room eating saltines, and then I walked out here. You know, like, people who can do that.
Yeah.
My fourth person, and I've gone back and forth on this, but I like, because I know Colby doesn't like him as much, but Patton Oswalt, man,
Yeah.
he is stayed with me forever. He's another great storyteller. My guys are all like great storytellers. I've listened to other stuff, you know, Dimitri Martin, who's like he does like wordplay, you know, sort of pun stuff. I think Bo Burnham's really good.
Yeah.
But Bo Burnham also is like, he's a very depressed, dark person, and you can tell like that he's so cynical.
He fucking I'll still go back and watch his endings to 2 of his things because it just gets so real so fast.
Yes.
And you're just like, holy fuck, dude. I feel you like shit.
Yeah. But man, Patton Oswalt's a great storyteller too, and I really enjoy long form story comedy instead of just like set up punchline stuff like a Mitch Hedberg or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my 4. Just trying to keep it brief for you guys. Who wants to go next?
I mean, since you have 2 of mine, I
Yeah,
guess
go
I'll
ahead.
do it. So, you know, Dave Chappelle, John Mulaney, love him a lot. I guess my third would be Hannibal Buress.
Yeah, I love Hannibal Buress.
He's
for
great.
sure.
Another thing about him is his cadence.
Yeah.
His just like deadpan like deliveries and stuff like that. Yeah, man. It's just last night I rewatched the pickle juice bit, you know, and it's just like
Get on my
again
sandwiches
like
for flavor.
like you don't see that cadence that much of just like he almost like runs over certain things and holds on others where
Yeah.
it's almost like the opposite. Yeah, love Hannibal Buress. Love like even just like when he's like how didn't he send someone else to like the Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah, he sent like somebody
Premiere.
in his place
Yeah, stuff like
that
that.
people thought they were Hannibal Buress. Like, yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of the like Tim and Eric style stuff. Because he's does a lot of that with like Eric Andre
Yeah.
and whatnot. I'm not like a massive fan of that, but some of the stuff that he does just chef's kiss.
Yeah, man. The reason he's not on my list is because he needs more albums for me. All my guys have a lot of albums, and that is what cements it for me. Is they have 5 or 6 really good, stand-up specials. But Hannibal, I think he has 3.
Yeah.
So, okay, and who's your 4th one?
I was debating, I thought about Patton Oswalt, but again, I fell off his career and stuff. I only know his, older stuff. Thought about putting Bo Burnham on there, but I think I settled on Tom Segura.
Yeah, Tom Segura's funny.
He's another one that has a really, distinct cadence, kind of similar to Hannibal Buress, but
The don't give a fuck cadence.
Yeah, and that
I'm not impressed.
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
and he does a really good job of doing conversations. He's talking like he's having a conversation with another person,
Yeah.
and his responses and stuff speak to me, where it's stuff that you think in your head where it's just someone say something, you just go, what the fuck? And then the other guy keeps talking and stuff like that. And I watched some of his stuff to just reaffirm
right.
that he would be up there. I've seen him live. He was really good. Sometimes you go I saw Hannibal live. I had bad seats and everything, and there was a snowstorm and whatnot, but it wasn't because you could tell he was working through material.
Right.
I went and saw him at in Bloomington, just tumbling through a college town.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Collin, I'm going to kick it over to you because you're our boy that doesn't do as much stand-up comedy. So if you had to pick, what do you like?
That's tough. Your boy's got to admit, I enjoy stand-up, sure, but I find a hard time watching anything. Just finding the time.
Yeah.
So if you tell me you got to sit down and watch 2 hours of somebody talking, I'm going to tell you to
Eat your shorts?
go on somewhere, good sir.
That's why I don't like to watch as much. I like to listen because I can do it on the go.
Right.
I got an 8.5-hour documentary for you guys. That's
that would help. I can say things. The George Washington, that's like the Dan Carlin. The Abraham Lincoln's like the Phil Hartman because he got shot in the head. The
Shit.
See, that's dark comedy.
Yeah.
No, I can. I guess I don't really have a Mount Rushmore because I would just say generic things like who. The person that I probably follow the most is Jim Gaffigan, but it's not necessarily that I think he's the best ever. It's just a warm blanket.
Sure.
It's
great.
oh, there's a new Gaffigan. Well, I've seen the other ones. Okay, I'll make time for this.
Yeah, it's easy listening.
Right,
Yeah. Sure.
but there's so many now that it's
Yeah.
am I just going to watch this random person special? My time is so tight.
Right. You're a
That it's
busy boy.
if they're kind of not great. I will say, speaking, since I had the bad comedy with Sarah Silverman, I'm sure she's gotten better. But also, somebody I really disliked that I thought I was going to like, Robin Williams.
Dude, I feel the same way. I was so excited when I was a little bit younger to watch his, Weapons of Mass Destruction and stuff. And it's just so manic and, unintelligible.
Right.
And,
it's like the joke. It's like there's no jokes.
Yeah.
He's just screaming things at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Republicans, they fucking suck, right?
Yeah, it's like
a
more fun Lewis Black.
Right. It's that same. But even Lewis Black has, which I used to be a fan of. I was a fan of Lewis Black when I first saw him. I was like, oh, this guy, I love this. And then you see it the second time, and you're like, oh, you're just the same forever.
Yeah. Robin Williams' punchline was "fuck off." It was that, you tell me this, fuck off, And he said it 1,000,000 times in his stand-up, and I was like, yeah, it's just too much. There's no pacing. I just wasn't a fan. I think it was that hype, expectation letdown sort of thing that also played into it, but I just was
Right. I
not
think
a fan.
there's too much
Live at
expectation.
the Met was better, but
Yeah. Too much expectation, Eddie Murphy's old stuff. I know you guys talked about the things that don't fly now with PC culture, but just even beyond that, it's is this ever? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get into it.
I laughed at his stuff. I think he's got a confidence, a stage presence that just is kind of naturally.
Right. I can appreciate it, but it's kind of I have to stop letting people build these things up for me. Oh, you have to check out this person. Oh my gosh, or this is the greatest thing ever. Go back and watch this, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
I mean, because the other thing is, there's always about 20 minutes in every stand-up special that just doesn't hit.
Right.
Yep.
Like, I always, because that's another thing I noticed when I was watching Netflix specials, is like around 40 minutes, I was tuned out.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, it's still going. It's not like I've laughed enough almost, where it's just like, like the energy kind of dips and then I just kind of tune out. And
that's why Hannah Gatsby was brilliant, because it's like at that moment that it picks up and turns into a different thing that's like, all right, I know you're comedied out and now it's into,
What's the guy that he had a special kind of recently where he's got like different microphones and one of them's funny and one of them is like real stories? Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I have often wondered why there isn't more of that. I know there's the like cultural expectation that stand-up comedy is like, you tell jokes the whole time, and if it's anything else, fuck you. Like, we're going to hate you for it. But that idea that
it's changing.
Right, it can be stand-up, but it can also just be like TED Talky,
spoken word,
not necessarily information. Or
Dave
poetry
Chappelle did that in, I think, the last one of his first batch of Netflix specials.
Yes, but I actually didn't like his as much, and maybe that was the expectation of old Dave Chappelle still in me. But who's the guy's name you just said?
Neil Brennan.
Neil Brennan. Yeah, I think he pulled it off so well, where it was like. When Dave Chappelle would switch to the serious stuff, it was less interesting. It feels like his stories weren't as interesting. Whereas Neil Brennan's, it was like, oh fuck, your father was dying and he hated you, and like, oh man, like he got you invested so fast that even when it wasn't funny anymore, he had you immediately. It wasn't like, no, I'm just gonna kind of tell you about, and then it kind of sucked the other day, or like, what's going on with politics, people? Let's sit here and discuss. You kind of like, we're done with the funny part. Okay, let me check out.
He was the co-creator of Chappelle's Show.
I was gonna ask. Was like
no,
that.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, he was the co-creator. It's funny that you were comparing him to Dave Chappelle because he was the co-creator of that. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, I've listened to like his Neil Brennan did his kind of perspective on the Chappelle Show meltdown and stuff like that. That was super interesting. And then what Chappelle did was he just told basically like an anagram of the story.
Yeah.
The thing about the pimp and his bottom bitch.
Yeah.
And like that whole thing. And I was just enraptured because it's just like, what, I want to know what happened. We were such huge fans. And then it was just like a fucking magic trick, like poof, gone.
No more.
And it feels like Dave, even now, doesn't really want to talk about it. He talks about it in like metaphors, and he's just like, you know what it was like, man. And the reporter's like, no, I don't know. And he's like, it's like when a monkey, and they have the salt, and they put the monkey, and they got the food and this thing in Africa, and they trap the monkey, and the monkey just wants that thing. And he gets done with it's a really compelling story, and you're just like,
he didn't say anything.
But what happened?
What happened? Just say what happened, which makes it more intriguing because you think Dave Chappelle would just say whatever,
right?
Like he's not afraid. So the fact that he's not specifically saying what happened makes you think that there's more.
Sure,
but maybe there isn't, and so and also I can see he's like desperately trying to get away from his old self, his old style.
Sure,
trying to kill that.
Yeah. All right, now it's time for our boy Colby to step up to the plate. Colby, who's your comedy Mount Rushmore?
All right, well, okay, so we're doing favorite here, basically?
Yeah, favorite. Not who you think is like the best, but favorite.
Let's see then. Dave Chappelle.
Obviously.
He would be in there. Obs,
the GOAT.
Yeah, he probably is.
Probably.
Let's see. Favorite from the past 20 years.
So many notes.
I know. Okay. I'm going to throw one out there. Norm Macdonald.
You like Norm Macdonald?
I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, I like his stuff too. I didn't realize that I would. Like, I didn't think I would as much because I was like, oh, he's probably just like a Chevy Chase, like an old like upset guy, because he's not in like the limelight as much anymore. But
he's always been like pro just do comedy for comedy's sake. Like I don't want comedians to have to make a career in movies and stuff.
No one needs to be like Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
selling out Madison Square Garden. And stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Kevin Hart is definitely the most successful comedian of the last 20 years, minus maybe Jerry Seinfeld, but who gives a shit about Jerry Seinfeld?
I don't know. Cat Williams also was like selling out like arenas and stuff like
but
that.
Honestly,
but you're right, Kevin Hart's probably
Kevin
bigger.
Hart probably would have been on mine if his last like 3 or 4 like mega specials weren't mega specials, whereas Pyro and stuff, and it's just like, I missed you talking about your uncle with the long dick and you don't learn today. Like, I missed that. Like, I loved his first two, like, big ones.
Yeah.
Do you think he shaped his new ones for his burgeoning audience?
Probably. He probably made them more accessible and stuff.
And he ran his jokes that he, you know, kind of built himself up with into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, where it becomes a Dane Cook super finger. He has it on the stage and like a thing. Like, I assume one of his fucking new specials is "You Gonna Learn Today." You know,
like it's like if Jim Gaffigan always came out eating Hot Pockets now.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm that guy.
People are just screaming at you, "Do the Hot Pocket!"
Yeah.
Fuck you.
The Chappelle Show syndrome, where you go do stand up and people would just scream Rick James at him.
Right.
Have you all ever heard of Terry Fetter? I guess
I
that's
don't
how you say
think
his
so.
name.
No.
That is one of the top 5 grossing comedians of the last 10 years, and he is a ventriloquist act in Las Vegas.
Oh.
But he's a stand-up comedian kind of a thing. Like
He makes more money than Jeff Dunham.
I mean, it's like right up there.
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham? I'm sorry. Well, dude, he has another Netflix special, and he's still using the racist puppets, man. Like, he has, like, new ones. I'm like, why don't you retire the fucking terrorist? Please.
He still has that?
He still has the terrorist dummy,
It
man.
makes him money, man.
Yeah, but, like, God, it's not 2004 anymore, man.
Everybody's just screaming, "Do the
Like,
terrorist."
I kill you. Do that.
The terrorist.
Yeah. Like, we're not all laughing at dead terrorists anymore. Come on.
Well, he just takes the Taliban sticker off. He puts the ISIS sticker on, and he's like, "There we go. It's fresh."
I'm sure.
Still brown, though.
Absolutely sure that he has a bit about him switching from Al Qaeda to ISIS. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
got to.
Yeah.
For sure.
man.
I'll hate watch that special just to see how bad it is. Like, because he's like, oh, and the other racist one, the jalapeno. It's like, man.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Stick with that old man one or like the
white
goofy
man.
purple monster. Like that's your range now, man.
So Terry Fetter.
Sorry. Does he have racist puppets, Colby?
I have not seen his act. I've only seen his face next to like $20 million in 2018.
That's how
I've never heard of
brands
him.
himself. Like, that's what his latest special is.
No,
$20 million in 2018.
I've seen him on a bunch of Forbes lists of
Okay.
like top grossing comedians of this year, which
Wow.
over the last 10 years, number one was always either Kevin Hart or Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, for
One
sure.
of those two
Yeah.
was always number one.
Makes
without
sense,
fail.
man. Jerry Seinfeld just signed that Netflix deal for like $500 million.
Yeah, well, I hope it's like new jokes and not just, hey, it's my old material.
No. He is putting Seinfeld on Netflix, and him and Larry David made another several $1 million.
Right.
Again.
Several
hundred,
Oh my
yes,
God.
for sure.
Right.
Because I remember in 2014 it was like 120 something million, and now it's $500 million
He
for
needs that money,
freaking
man.
show.
Never seen it.
Coffee's expensive.
What?
I'm a Friends
I don't
boy.
really watch it either,
I'm a
yeah.
Friends
All right,
boy.
I will just. It's probably the best sitcom of all time.
You mean Friends? Yeah, I know.
No, Friends is good, but it was like a single note. Whereas Seinfeld, I think, pushed the envelope.
Sure.
It like broke it open.
Yeah.
Friends, they were just friends. Seinfeld, they were assholes to each other.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
no hugs, no
That's kind of
lessons
the
learned. That's the whole
the
thing. of
diverging
Seinfeld.
path, and I identify more with Friends.
What's
even though
the deal with being nice to your friends?
here's $500 million, Nick.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, I always remember I loved Seinfeld, and then you're like, oh, I'll watch Jerry Seinfeld's special. I bet it's so tight.
Yeah, it's just not.
Which one did you watch? The one from like 1998 or
Yes.
the one? Yeah, it's okay. It's better than the new one,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Which is just his old fucking jokes.
Right.
Anyway,
There was one at in the 2000s where it starts where he's like having a funeral for his old jokes
yeah,
or
that's
something.
the one from '98.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched that, and it's like, I'm putting to rest all these old jokes, and then it's like, okay, he's doing fresh stuff. Not really. He's like, all these jokes are dead. It's new Jerry.
I promise to never say what's the deal anymore.
Right.
Well, the name of the special was like, all right, I'm only telling you one more time, or something like that. Like, one last time.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
Jerry Seinfeld, one last ride.
Him in the Rock.
that was funnier than that special.
I'd watch a movie with Jerry Seinfeld and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Absolutely.
I would too.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Colby. We interrupted
that's
you.
okay.
It's really easy for us to do on this podcast.
That's okay. Let's roll
We'll
with
just
it.
run right over you. Keep going.
So I love Norm Macdonald. I'm also going to throw out there Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I think Bill
Yeah.
Burr
I thought you would.
He's really excellent.
I think so too.
I think he's really good at what he does. And yes, he's, as he says, like, all right, I recognize that I'm coming across very ignorant right now. I get that. But that's kind of the shtick. That's kind of the, but he uses that to be like, I think one of the lines from his latest special, Paper Tiger, was like, I don't get with my wife. Like, I'm great at my job. I take out the trash. I crush my life. And all she has against me is who I am as a person.
Right.
And,
no, I think self-awareness helps when you're going to go into, more taboo stuff and have a certain point of view. Self-awareness helps, and, self-deprecation definitely helps.
Yeah. Man, I really want to love Bill Burr, but there's just, like, chunks of his specials that get too Lewis Black. Where he's just like, these damn kids, and and all these kids in this PC, and it's like, God, we've heard this. We've heard it from everybody, and we've heard it from you, like the past 3 specials.
Yeah. A lot of the way I interact with and like consume stand-up comedy now is just like Facebook video, where you just like see one posted and then you just like go down like a rabbit hole because it just keeps giving you like these little 4-8 minute segments of different comics.
I think that would benefit certain comics over other comics.
Right.
You know how they
for
say like
sure.
Rodney Dangerfield is the greatest 5 to 7 minute comedian ever, but then let's see a full hour of.
But it's like
my wife, I tell you.
it's like I've seen a ton of Bill Burr stand-up. I don't think I've watched a special.
Sure.
Right.
Because of that.
I tried
someone
listening
I think
to the
that does
podcast,
benefit.
his podcast, and he just yells the whole time. And
It's
like,
just
"What?"
him
I
alone.
Again, I listened to that, and parts of it were awesome, amazing. I was like, man, Bill Burr really can do it by himself. And other parts, it was like,
Yeah.
man, he needs somebody in
I
there
can't
with him
do.
bad.
That's why I can't listen to any single person podcast.
Yeah.
I tried listening to Chris D'Elia's like single man podcast, and he's just like, "What the fuck's going on? Let's go through the papers." And like, it's like, okay.
He's also a really good comic. I went and saw him live. He's another one of those people who's just like, it seems like he doesn't have any prepared material, and it's just like a lot of like observations and stuff. Also, the great joke of him impersonating Eminem, and then Eminem like eventually there were the Logic video with Eminem in it. The whole joke is that they couldn't get Eminem for the video. So then they were like, all right, we got Eminem a body double. And it's just like, okay. And the Logic's like, what the fuck? And it's like, no, Logic, we got you a body double. And the body double is Squints from Sandlot.
yeah.
And then Eminem's body double is Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
And then in the song, they cut to the Chris D'Elia impersonation.
Okay.
And in the video, it's Eminem impersonating Chris D'Elia doing the Eminem impersonation.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm pretty sure you
Layered.
showed that to us, didn't you? Did we
Maybe.
take a break from this
Yeah.
podcast? And you were like, guys, I got to show you this Eminem
think
thing.
so.
It's Eminem and Eminem and Eminem and Eminem.
Eminem.
All right, and who's your last person, Colby?
Y'all,
Yeah.
I gotta go with Louis C.K.
I figured you would.
I thought you were going to say Sarah Silverman.
I do think Sarah Silverman is better than you give her credit
in the
for.
studio.
Well, I haven't seen her in a long time, so I'll give her credit that maybe she evolved. But, man, back in early 2000s.
And see,
I agree.
and that's the stuff that I think she's the most lauded for. Like, what is it? Rolling Stone magazine had their like, the greatest stand-up specials of all time. The one from 2005 was like 15 or something like that. Not that it.
Wow,
you
you're
know,
a contrarian, Colin. Get out of here.
I get it.
I'm
I get why
contrarian.
other
I
people
understand.
liked it, but I personally hate when you say a joke and then you have to tell everyone it's a joke every single time. It's like the most childish writing where it's like, here's the joke. Laugh. Laugh.
Yeah, no,
Like
Please
you have
clap.
to repeat it twice. Like that's that
Yeah.
same thing, that one note.
it's like
of-
a similar thing of everyone telling you that Sarah Silverman is funny.
right.
It's
And
like
then you're-
she's so funny, and then you get there and she's trying to tell you that she's funny.
Right, and then she's just like screaming like
believe me.
vagina, and I like 5 dicks in me. And it's like, man, I grew up as a young man. I've heard a lot of crazy shit. Like, nothing you can say is going to be like, whoa, she said that? That's insane. It's
for a while, and I think it might have been Sarah Silverman, where it's just like, I just don't really find female comedians that funny because it's that shock value of just like, I'm a slut. That was a lot, and then it got better.
Right. Man. That was the struggle.
Yeah. You know who was one of the best female comedians and one of the best comedians ever? Any gender is fucking Tig Notaro.
Man, she's really funny.
Really fucking funny.
Yeah.
I think she has the all-time heavyweight face as far as stand-up comedy goes. You just can't trust that face.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's hard because this podcast is
all
for
white men.
Well, it's mostly 3 white men. This time 4 straight white men. And we just, like, I'm sorry, I just don't understand a woman's point of view the same way I do a man. It's just, like, but I like them, but they're just not at the top for me.
Right. And I will say kind of what Joey was saying. I think there was that shtick that a lot of female comedians had where they felt like they needed to be extra crass to kind of get in with the boys.
Yeah,
or like,
I think so.
Or I can see the logic of, like, these guys are making dick jokes. Like, I'm going to make vagina jokes.
Right.
Fuck it. But me personally, I don't think dick jokes are funny either. Just like, anyway, my dick, laugh. Like, I hate that shit too. So when it's like Sarah Silverman or Amy Schumer and they're just like, my vagina, I said something taboo, laugh. Right. It's like, I never liked Howard Stern. Fuck off with this shock humor.
Right.
It's just not funny.
Would y'all go see Louis C.K.?
No.
Now?
No. I'm with you because I thought in the early, late 2000s that he was probably the best in the game at that time.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Hilarious is a great album. I still think so. I don't think that he's not funny anymore, but I can't support him as an artist. I don't think that he should just get to,
I just don't know if I can really separate it. You know?
I mean, that's a problem. That's a big discussion that a lot of people have. That, like, I can separate some. I can listen to Michael Jackson songs. I can, I can listen to old Louis C.K. stuff. But am I going to support him as an artist now? No, not anymore.
It's also like if you're thinking about, Richard Pryor might have been a worse person than Louis C.K.
Absolutely.
But it's like I don't know. The bandwagon got on the Louis C.K., which, granted,
cancel culture.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's a word for it.
Well, you're talking about the initial bandwagon of. I never understood why people liked him so much. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah,
he's the best. Man.
I didn't think he was. I thought it was like a less angry Bill Burr, where it's just like. Anyway, my life's pretty fucking depressing. I don't have any hair, and my wife fucks other dudes. What's going on with you all? Does your wife fuck other men? That's not cool. Anyway, my kids hate me. Your kids hate you out there? Yeah, they probably do, and you just don't know it. Anyway, and I'm just like, it felt pretty, I don't know, just bland and one note.
Oh, man. I think it's not pedestrian at all. I think it's real good.
I didn't understand why people were into him.
Yeah, I'm with you, Colby. I don't think it's pedestrian. Yeah, I think you're wrong, too. I mean, that's fine, Collin.
Right. I understood why other people liked him. I just didn't. And so it was like, I've been on the outside of this whole thing because it was like I never really cared for him at all.
Sure.
It was just like, oh, that's that guy that everyone likes.
That's the guy that directed Pootie Tang.
He did do that.
And then there's that, and then he did something bad, but like I had no attachment to him, so it was just like whatever.
I think that what he did that was really kind of important was get people acquainted with their sadness, especially around the time of Hilarious. You were talking about that, like it was like, yeah, we've got this great technology, and we're all fucking miserable.
We all just hate it.
Yeah, just boom, I heard my phone. I think that was a really important thing to say at that time during the aftermath of the Great Depression. Not the Great Depression, the Great Recession. Yeah. In the Dust Bowl.
Technically, all of time forever is the aftermath of the Great Depression.
Ever since 1930.
Yeah.
I've had several of my own Great Depressions.
Oh.
Joey, how are you feeling? I'm going through a great depression right now. Like, it's really bad.
I'm having it's Black Tuesday all over again.
Like, it is. I've stayed in my room for 15 days.
I'm gonna have to have my own prohibition soon. You know what I mean? Help me.
Take this away from me.
All right. I've been roaring in my 20s, and I'm not sure what to do now.
Help.
Japan. Yeah, it's just like, uh-oh, Japan just invaded, and there's like hentai all over your computer.
And then you just British it. Can't quite take it, can ya? Instead of just be like, oh, yeah, that sucks, Joey. What a great depression you're going through right now. If that hasn't already been taken, Joey, I think if you ever did a stand-up special, it'd have to be called The Great Depression. For a long, and I'm going to ask Collin and Colby to think of what they would call their stand-up specials. Ooh. Mine, for a long time, was going to be Riniculous. That's when I was like 14.
I like it.
Oh my gosh.
I like it.
Oh no.
Colby, what do you think you'd name your stand-up special?
TCBallin.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So,
I don't know.
You know what? You know, life might happen. You might never come on this podcast again. TCBallin is the best. So Colby's name is Thomas Colby Balloon.
Thomas Colby Balloon.
And Colby, you can tell this story. It's very funny to me.
It was an orientation for at U of L, and I don't remember what it was. I had to go away, so my dad filled out some paperwork or something for my orientation, and he filled out basically what was going to be my student email. And he just took my initials, TCB, taking care of business, TCB, and at the time I was really into poker.
Oh, I thought you were into b-ball.
No, I was into poker. So he said, "Oh, I'll do TCB all in." Like, I'm going all in.
No way!
TCBallin.
That's why we call Colby TCBallin. Oh, I'm glad Joey had never heard that story before. He just broke his microphone. So, it's just about how old people don't understand new slang.
My dad literally thought that Tupac Shakur was 2 packs of sugar. So, you know, you're working with a very,
Man,
you know, the oldest of the old mind.
Your dad needs a comedy special.
Shit, my dad says too.
He really does not.
It just needs to be heavily filtered.
Yeah, I'll talk
Collin,
about how the globalists...
what do you think your stand-up special would be called? Collin Sage, my proginer.
Right? Right?
I don't know. Probably what's it like up there?
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Just because I heard that joke from the time I was like 5 to the time I was like 15.
yeah.
What's it like up there? From a bunch of people who thought they were funny, so it's funny to me.
Oh, because you're tall. All right.
Yeah.
So the problem is my album artwork for the Great Depression would need to be me like sad Charlie Browning, but it would need to be like a GIF of me staring out a window as the seasons pass.
Oh wow!
It's just me, just sad. Yeah.
Can it just be like a historical old black and white photo of like everyone freaking out in Wall Street, but it's your face photoshopped over every single person, like throwing papers and like screaming,
Jumping out the window, but then you're just staring out the window at someone that jumped out. Oh, there goes
oh
another
yeah,
one.
you're staring out the window, sad Charlie Brown, but it's like Hooverville down there.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Very Real Talk. Colby, thank you for coming on and talking about stand-up comedy with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we hope to see you back again.
Yeah, you didn't stand up a single time. I won't hold it against you though. Yeah, that's my right. Funny. I can just start
Colin's
screaming.
punchline is right funny for all of his things.
That's what it's like in tournament.
Yeah.
It's subtly reinforcing to the audience that he's funny.
Right, you got to let the people know that you made a joke because all you did was scream one like obscenity.
Laugh.
Can I just get this in? Sam Kinison sucks.
Yeah, you think so?
Bad. I think he's
Double
really bad.
fisting his microphone and just like, whoa,
Yep.
screaming into it
It's just screaming. That's all it is.
for an hour.
It's really bad.
One of the names of his specials.
Just screaming.
Just screaming.
Guys, if you like this podcast, please go over to our website. That's vrtcast.com. You'll find all of our episodes there. You can also find us in all of your podcast apps. Please like, subscribe, rate, review.
It really helps us.
It really helps us grow
us.
our podcast, grow our audience, and we need some feedback, you know? We want to hear from you guys. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us in our social media who your comedy Mount Rushmore would be. We want to hear from you guys. We want to have a discussion.
Tell us who the real Mount Rushmore is. We don't know.
I know 3.
It's like Teddy Roosevelt.
Yes, that's the one.
because he
Roosevelt,
paid
Lincoln,
for it or
Washington,
something?
who's the
Jefferson. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went to school. Guys, I just typed in Mount Rushmore, and did you know that Mount Rushmore closes at 11 p.m.?
What?
I thought it just, like, how could
Was
you close
there?
something? Yeah, like, this mountain's closed. You can't look at it.
There's like a poor janitor that has to go up there with like the red velvet rope thing and like take it all the way
It
across.
takes him, like, an hour and a half.
Clink. You just
Or,
hear the
I wish it would just say close, like, when it gets dark.
right. They
Closed when you can't see it.
Yeah.
they have to go around and like hold up a curtain in front of everybody trying to look at it. Like, no, it's closed.
No, get out of here. Pull away. Yes, also, we have another podcast. It's called Very Real Tournament. You can find that on our website as well. That's a comedy battlecast that pits two very real opponents against each other in a very real fight. We do that every other Monday. Please, if you haven't, go check that out. And do the same thing. Rate, review, like, subscribe. We need them likes, gang.
Also, shout out to the Thumps for making the music for this podcast. You can find all their shit at their Bandcamp or, any of the music streaming services, or head over to their Facebook, check out where they're playing next.
The Thumps are great. We love them. If I hadn't said before, I think I have, but they made the music specifically for our podcast.
Specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
They actually took time out of their day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. I was very surprised. We asked them, like, hey, can we use some of your music? And they're like, no, fuck that. We'll make you your own. Whoa. We haven't even heard what your podcast is.
We don't even know if it sucks.
Yeah, they took a real chance
Wow.
letting us use that.
All right.
Did it work? Did it match? Was it good?
I don't know. Do we suck, Colby?
I don't know. Yeah, you tell us.
Are we on the Mount Rushmore podcast?
No.
It's just Mark Maron, Joe Rogan.
It's Joe Rogan 4 times.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
All right, guys, let's get out of here. Right?
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 Funny?
I'm Nick Potter.
I'm Joey Potter.
Colin Sage.
Colby Ballou.
It's been real. It's been fun.
It's been vagina. It's been vagina.
We good?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna leave that?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
I like the pause. It's been real. It's been fun.
Well, I thought I had something to say. I thought I had something to say, and I didn't.